The closer you look, the more you see. So look closely. Alright, so 90% of the shots in that reel were shot with this lens. This is the 28-45 1.8 Sigma lens, but this is not a macro lens. I actually used something else to screw in front of it. I used this thing, and it's a little thing called a macro filter. Now, this is basically just a magnifying glass that you can screw in front of your lens, and it'll turn your lens into a macro lens. I have actually really been enjoying using this because I have never had a macro lens before. I've gotten some on loan, I've seen other people use them, but myself, I've never even thought of investing in a macro lens because it just seems like a hassle to have it around. It doesn't really make sense. But I felt like as soon as I put this filter on the lens, a whole new world of cinematic opportunity opened for me, and I was able to create some stuff that I had seen elsewhere and really wanted to replicate and try to get inspiration from. So all in all, really enjoyed the process, and I think I'm definitely gonna keep shooting some macro stuff with this filter. But yeah, this is not a macro lens, this is just a filter or a filter set. And I guess the first thing you're wondering, how much does this cost? It actually is very inexpensive. I bought this set for $18. There are a bunch of these filters online from different brands, and some of them are super expensive and some of them are insanely cheap. This was, I think, kind of the first set that I found online. 4 filters at 4 different strengths, and it's all in all $18, which is great. This is the set that it comes in. It's 4 filters. It's 1 times magnification, it's 2 times, it's 5 times, and then it's 10 times. And I've been using this one, the 10 times, a lot. And it comes in this little filter pouch, which is pretty nice. I mean, it does the job, but you can just throw this in whatever filter pouch you want anyway. I have here the Pixies with the 28-45. It has an 82mm thread on the front. I have a black Pro Mist here, which also has a thread, so I can just thread this straight on. So just be careful if you're putting a matte box in front of this. And be careful not, shattering the glass. But this is pretty much what it looks like. Here you go. I love this look. It's crazy. But surely you can't just put a filter on front of a lens and the lens is suddenly a perfect macro lens. Definitely not. I really noticed that when you put the filters on the lenses, you create a lot of distortion in the sides. You get a lot of chromatic aberration, you get a lot of blurriness in the sides, and even though the center is pretty sharp, but I kind of liked those effects. This changed the lens from being a super clinical, clean lens into kind of a vintage look macro lens, and I really liked the look. It's not retaining, the focal length perfectly, it's actually magnifying a lot in, so you're actually getting like a tighter lens than the one you had. All right, now I'm gonna take the filter and we'll see what happens here. So as soon as I put this in front of the lens, you can see how the lens just immediately changes. It's like you're zooming in 200%. Wow, that's cool. That was pretty cool. So let's do another example. I'm just doing handheld shots now. I'm just gonna move in on this glass and see what happens. So I'm at the maximum close focus now at 28mm. And these are some really interesting shots. These are very artistic, very much character in these shots. Putting this on like a slider and stabilizing it would look amazing, but it just shows you how much you can shoot with this. And if I go up to this camera right here, so this is great for small product shoots and everything, and I just really love the look of this. Sure, if you want to get a clean image and retain the focal length, this is probably not the way to use it, but I really love the effect that you get putting on a massive magnifying glass on the lens. So why not just get a macro lens? Like I said before, if you want to retain the focal length, retain the sharpness in the edges, or just have a more detailed view of what you're getting, a macro lens would definitely be the way to go. But the thing about buying a macro lens is that you need to buy a whole lens. And how much are you actually going to be shooting macro? If macro is something that you specialize in, if you're doing macro photography or macro videography on a regular basis, then it's a no-brainer. Of course, you're going to buy a macro lens. But if you're just like me, you're shooting commercials, you're shooting TV shows, you're shooting social media content, then there's basically no reason to get a macro lens, especially when macro lenses are going for like $1,000 plus, and the most expensive ones are crazy expensive. So for me, it wouldn't really make sense because I only need to do it a couple of times, sometimes for social media videos and sometimes for commercials. But it's not my niche, it's not what I do for a living, so getting filters is a much easier choice for me. And also for you, if you just want to dabble in macro photography or macro videography, this is a great way to entry. But which is better, a macro lens or the filters? I don't really think you can say one thing is better than the other because it's just such a different effect that you get. The macro lens is going to be much cleaner, it's going to be more clinical, it's going to give you more control over the macro features, probably going to give you good autofocus features, and the macro lens is definitely going to let you focus to infinity as well and be able to capture something in the distance, while the macro filters kind of limits you to capturing stuff up close. So it really depends on what you're doing, what kind of work you're in, or if you just want to do this as a little gimmick. I do have links to these filters in my description. It is an affiliate link, so by clicking the link, you're actually helping me out. I guess I'm just pretty excited that you can put on a filter and get a completely new look on your camera and your lenses with such a cheap barrier of entry. So this is really exciting for me. I like finding new gimmicks here and there. And this was something that I just searched on Amazon because I wanted to get a macro shot, and I was looking at lenses and they were so expensive, and I just saw $18 on Amazon and I thought, why not? It's probably not going to be great, but it became amazing. So I'm super happy with it. Obviously, the quality of the macro shots is going to depend on the quality of the filters and the quality of the glass, but these are like pretty good. They look really good. They have a lot of character, which I like. I don't want it to be too clean, and they work great for what I wanted to do. So thank you for watching this short video about macro filters. If you want to see more videos like this, please let me know in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.